Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Faith, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.
Good morning and welcome. I'm Bob Pace. I'm your host. And here we are to fight CPS with Bob Pace and get your children back. It's a warm welcome. I want you to know when you come here, you're part of my family. You are out there. I know you are. And you're struggling. And I know how hard and difficult it must be. Now, I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week. I am live. I am heard around the world. Not only do I have every state, including Washington, D.C., I've talked to, but I also have 18 countries I've talked to about CPS. CPS is a worldwide issue. Now, I'm on at 10 o'clock in the morning Pacific Standard Time and on at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. There are exceptions. On Saturday and Sunday, I come on at 8. Saturday, we have Mr. Davis, my attorney. I want to thank you very much for his dedication and hard work to help out people that have lost their children or their family's been unsettled and so forth. So thank you for what you do, Vincent. Thank you. There may be other times that adjustment times. I will tell you that. I just went through a whole Friday Night Lights football season. And the team that follows my son's school. You know, he had played high school football there. Anyway, it's so rewarding to have this team accomplish another national championships. And this was a good year for this team. But like anything else, it all starts with family. What is family? What is family? Family should be a place where there's love and hope, and that you, as loving parents, can raise your children to contribute something to this world. And I want to help you all with your battle against CPS. There are a lot of things out there that you have to be aware of. And I want to welcome our first guest, Kennedy June. I need help for an organ. Let me see here. For an organ case. Please, I'm desperate. Well, you come to the right place, Kennedy. Because I'm Bob Pace and I'm going to help you as best as I can. I'm not an attorney, but I've been fighting CPS for 15 years. I'm a family man. I'm a loving father. I have 8 children and over 45 years of marriages. And so I can't help you. I've been there. I've been wrongly had my children that have been stolen from me and my wife, my family. And it's wrong what they do. It's wrong what they do. Who is CPS? Well, I call it the Child Protection System. It's a government entity that's a part of social services that is entrusted to protect our children from neglect and abuse. I mean all children, black or white. It's supposed to protect. Also, this government entity mandated by Congress is supposed to protect our children from neglect and abuse. That's where they should be focusing on the safety of our children, not the witch hunts that they seem to be doing lately, where it's all about money, all about money, all about deception and harmful hurt to both the children and the biological parents. There may be hiccups, you may have run into some problems and so forth. But it all can be resolved. It all can be resolved. Now, Kennedy, you say you needed help. And there's 4 ways you can interact with my podcasts. One is just by being in this room. And I appreciate all you people coming on. I go to church on Sundays. That's why I start at 8 o'clock instead of 10 o'clock. And on Saturdays, Mr. Davis has a really good podcast question and answers that comes on at 9:30. And I like to have my followers to go there and listen in and get some help for what I perceive one of the best attorneys in juvenile family and dependency law. That's the area you're in. That is the area you're in. You're in family, dependency, juvenile law. Mr. Davis, he has 39 years of experience in doing that. He's a trial attorney. And he can be retained. The number on my podcast, 888-888-6582, is the number for this office. His office is Vincent W. Davis Associates. There you can call in. Make sure you tell them that Bob Pace sent you and that you can call in and retain him. He's the right kind of attorney you need to get your children back. I hired him. I sold my home and hired him. That's how I was able to take care of it. And yes, I've been battling CPS for 15 years. And I know what it is with the agency that's gone rogue. That all they do is they want to make money. It's a $1 trillion business, this child protection system. That's what I call them. Not only supposed to protect their children from neglect or abuse, but they're also supposed to help you with aid in the forms of food and shelter and clothing and transportation. Also, education for your children and yourselves, like parenting classes. They're supposed to help you with medical for your family. And then they're supposed to help you find a job. That's really important because a lot of us are struggling out there. It's hard. It's hard to buy food. Food keeps going up and up and up. It went up 50 cents in 1 week. Everything was in there. It's up a couple dollars. And yes, it does affect us because I'm low income, and it's through circumstances beyond my control. They also have a tendency to want to break your family apart and take your children, even when there's not domestic violence taking place. And that's sad. That's sad. They do things they're not supposed to. They violate your constitutional rights and your civil rights. They don't listen to you. Now, Kennedy has further said, let me catch up with you, Kennedy. I'd like to know where you're from, though, if you could tell me. I know you said you're from Oregon, but what city or county is your case in? Now, let me read what Kennedy says. Her daughter was illegally removed. I'll believe it. No founding reasons. 38 times previously to my house. House checks. USA. UAS. Hair follicle tests. Classes. Groups. No case could be opened, mind you. It's my ex-husband who abused. Yeah, that's sad because we do have spouses that want to abuse, each other. It's wrong because we need to be together with family. CPS is supposed to do family reunification. That means they put the family together because studies have shown the best parents are the biological parents. The best parents are the biological parents. But in 1997, President Clinton had signed the law, the Incentive Act. That means the government will pay more money to the CPS to have your children adopted by foster care. It's no longer family reunification. That's gone by the wayside because of that act in 1994. And so I know how it is out there because I've been there. Now, Kennedy further says, me calling in the reports, and then the 39th time, the same caseworker ripped my daughter from my arms for no reason with a fake warrant, and only after 2 court dates that answered nothing for me. Finally, that is sad. I know they're not supposed to take you, and they do use fake warrants. That's the reason why they can do that. That's why they can do that. And I want to say good morning to Felicia. Cruel has been on before. That's a handle for Felicia. Good morning, Felicia, and welcome again. I'm so glad to see everybody this morning. Kennedy further says, this is a guest from Oregon, I received a statement from them and says my mental health and a huge made-up hearsay for why remove my daughter. No proof, no anything, and refuse to let me talk or see her. They always sit there and say there's mental health issues. They always say that. And that's what they try to do. It's all strictly for the purpose of money. They want to make money. It's a money-making business in the trillions of dollars. Trillions. I didn't say billions. I didn't say millions. I said trillions is what the government ends up paying the social workers. And with that incentive law, it really hurts there further. And Kennedy is from Eugene, Oregon. And again, I welcome you, Kennedy from Eugene. And then Kennedy further says, trying to understand that. She says loan. Let me see on here. I know you're alone, and you don't have to feel you're alone. Candy, you're in here. There are several ways you can react with my podcast here. Not only texting messages here, but you also can call in. I'll put my number up shortly. And also, you can be a guest of my podcast. Be a guest of my podcast. You don't have to be alone because I'm here. And I want you to know that I care. You're my family. I got to take care of my family. That's been my whole goal in my life. There's a lot of life skills that no longer taught in school anymore. I think life skills should be taught, whether you're in pre-K, kindergarten, elementary school, middle school, or high school, even in college. If you go to college, there should be life skills all your life. And what I mean by life skills are things that you're not born with. You're not born with a manual about life. You're not born with a manual about life. Things like who is CPS, how to deal with CPS, what is the IRS, how to file your taxes. How about bullying when you're in elementary school? You know, bullying is a big problem, and that needs to be, addressed. As you get older, there's things called dating and marriage and having children. There's things called sex, how babies are made. These are all life skills. And, when we buy a car, we get a manual of how to operate the car. But when you're not born with a manual of how to operate yourself or how to deal in life. You need to know things, simple things like sewing or cooking or how to do your bank statements. There's things that can help you in college and help you in high school and middle school and elementary school. It should be a long life process of life skills. I really am advocate about that. Now, Candy, who's talking a lot this morning, I'm so glad you're in my room. Oh my, I thought I was the only one. No, you're not the only one, Margaret. Hi, Margaret. Good morning, Margaret. So glad to see you. The CPS worker wrote in her report that I have a mental illness due to believing my 5-year-old reported the abuse that was being inflicted upon her. There is that problem where we have so many children and so many families and friends that say things that are wrong, But Margaret's been on here. She's a regular, and I really appreciate hearing from you, Margaret. And good morning again to you. And we have Kenny from Eugene, Oregon. We have Margaret, and I forgot Margaret. I think you're from Merced, California, Margaret. And then we have Felicia. So we have 3 of you this morning. That's so great that you're all talking this morning. I like it when it does there. Oh, Lone County. I'm sorry, Kennedy. Lone County. Okay, she's in Eugene, Oregon, in a place called Lone County. That is the CPS place that have stolen her children, trafficked her children. It's a sad state of affairs. Now, Margaret says, I believe my child 300%. Believe my child 300%. Okay, Margaret. All right. Merced, California. I thought so. I have a group of about 5 of you from Merced, California that have been as a guest on my podcast. Now, I need to put up when you're a second way. Now, see, the first way, you can use emojis in the room, send me stars, check the box below to follow me, and also check the notification. But if you want to text me a message, please do so. All I ask is your first name, your city or county, your state or country. And the reason why I say country is that we have people from around the world, from Bangladesh to India to Middle East to Africa to Europe to North America, South America, to the Pacific, to New Zealand, Australia. And just yesterday, I had Archie Mann from Liberia. He's been with me for a long time. I've been doing this podcast for over a year. I have over 700 shows that have been recorded. I've talked to over 600 people who all have similar cases. It's really hard. It really is hard what you're going through, and I feel for you. I feel for you. Now, to be a guest on my podcast, all you're going to have to do is write in. Now, I have 14 shows a week. Now, Margaret King says, yes, Jonathan might be joining us in a few minutes. I'm so glad to hear about that, Margaret. I'm so glad to hear about that. I'm so glad you guys are here. Now, Felicia, who's cruel, that's her handle there, has been on before. She says her rights have been terminated. Haven't seen my baby since September 15th. There are currently 1 and 3. I have a court-appointed appeal attorney. Case is fully briefed. What is anything I can do? Well, I'm so glad that you have an attorney, but the problem is when you have a court-appointed attorney, whether it's an appeal attorney, of a public defender, you have to understand these attorneys that are appointed by CPS are controlled by CPS. They're also not schooled in dependency law, the juvenile family dependency law. They also won't fight for your case. They have a caseload of 30 or more clients, and they just will lay flat. They won't do anything for you. So one of the things you need to do is think about, Felicia, is to get an attorney. I know it's hard. I had to sell my house to get an attorney to get my kids back. So it is hard. And I think that once you find an attorney, there should be 2 questions you ask. Question 1, are you a juvenile family dependency lawyer who has fought CPS and won? If the answer is yet, the second question you're going to ask, have you ever filed a civil lawsuit against CPS in either state court or federal court? If the answer is yes, you found a pit bull attorney. You found an attorney that will fight for you. And you should always get a quote of 3 and make that determination. Now, I made it simple for you by talking to you about Mr. Davis. He operates out of Arcadia. It's in LA County, south of Los Angeles. And he has cases both in Orange County, LA County, Riverside County, and San Bernardino County. He also has cases up in Northern California, Merced County. He's also fighting in Oklahoma. He'll fight in every state. And with the attorney, you will get your kids back, but you need to it. You need it to it there. So, Felicia, we will get your kids back. We'll have to help you somehow. Now, I have a new person. I don't recognize the name, Yugi. And she says, hi, everyone. CPS tries and often succeeds in the disillusion our help. When we say persons are misinformed, CPS puts us. I know CPS is evil. And I hardly say about that because I've been on this show for over a year and I've only talked to 3 social workers. And they were nice. They were nice. They were educated, but they're far and few. Over 600 have told me, 99% of you said that your children weren't in extreme danger, but they were taken from you. My children were too. My children were in school when they were taken. They weren't in extreme danger. That's a ploy. They do because why? It generates money. CPS is a $1 trillion business. And the government always worries about where their money is or they're running out of money. Well, they should look right there because they're not transparent. CPS doesn't have a board of directors or supervisors that govern them. Those social workers are not high school educated or have a college degree in social work or clinical psychiatry, a minor in that. They should have those. They also need to have training at the place they're going to work, and they need to be following a mentor around. They need to have a license that's renewable. But right now, they don't have any such things. All they want to do is take your child, get the money, and put them in foster care. Now, Yugi, I need to know, if you can, where you're from. And if you're from another country, tell me their country. You're welcome here. You're welcome. Felicia, who is cruel, that's her handle. My dad and stepmom don't want to give my babies back. That's another thing, too. We have sometimes people that, for whatever motives, want to take or break apart the family. It's reported by 2 ways. It's reported by lay people and by professionals. The professionals are trained. They know what an abuse is. They know what neglect is. And they know how to report it. But the lay people, they use it to sometimes alienate the children from the mom and dad, to take the children. It's sad what they do. It's really sad what they do. And you got to be careful out there. You got to be careful out there. Now, cruel Felicia, only 1/5 of social workers I've had, including permanent social worker, ever really helped understand me. I know. I mean, you're lucky you have 1/5. My social worker was terrible. She committed perjury and was cross-examined by my attorney, Vincent Davis. And she retaliated. And she told our daughter, who's 12 at the time, to emancipate from your parents means divorce your mom, your dad, divorce your 3 brothers, divorce your 2 sisters, divorce your grandparents, both sets, divorce your aunts and uncles and cousins. Our daughter did that. That was the hardest thing. Then she changed her name completely. The social worker told her to do that. Change her name. She had a beautiful name. Her middle name was Hanalei, one of the most beautiful places in the world in Kauai. And then she had told that she needed to seal her birth certificate and get a new birth certificate and a new Social Security so she could double dip in Social Security. And her new birth certificate said that her foster parents are the ones that gave her birth. No, you cannot erase the memory of having a child. 2 loving people make that child. That child is carried by the mother and hopefully helped by the father. And then they have the child. The child is very precious. I know. I have 6 children myself. 3 older boys. 3 older children and 3 younger children. I used to be a family of 8, but sadly it's a family of 4. And it hasn't got any better with CPS. As I say, I've been fighting them for 15 years. I know where you are. I know where you're coming from. I'm from Surf City, California, USA, 3 blocks from the beach. And my case started in 2010. And my children were stolen. And I did not know what I know now. I would never have lost my children. And that's what I'm hoping I can share with you of what I know. I've made 5 rules too. Now, Yugi says Southern, you see here. They say it's SoCal mental state. I still don't know where you're from, UG, but welcome again. Margaret from Merced, California says, I just found out that I have over 18 calls to CPS. Unfounded. I'm sure they're from family. Well, in my case, in 2010, I lost my job through no fault of my own. And a layperson, my in-laws, called in to complain. And for 5 years, once a week, either the mother, the father, my wife's 3 sisters, or brother would call in from Ohio to California and say stupid things. Oh, we weren't taking the kids to school. I'd meet with the social workers, show them the grade reports. Oh, they weren't clothed. Again, I'd show the children they are clothed. They are fed. I ain't have them in my house. And I did all that for 5 years until they got so frustrated with the calls from my lay people that they hired the police department to track me down and the policemen to find me and order me to my home. I did not need to open my home. It was a mistake. I did not need to talk to them. You do not talk to social workers. You do not talk to police. You don't answer your door. You don't answer your door. You do not answer your door. Now I'm going to put my number up so that a lot of you can call in, because I love to have you when you do call in. Well, we got a problem here. I can't find my number here. Oh boy. Now I'm going to put my number up. I'm having problems with this. Okay. There's my number. Please call me at 626-698-0990. And that's my office number. And you can get a hold of me there. Now, going back to my room here, we've had I believe that they are from there. Hello there, Tori Johnson. Boy, we've had some people come in here. Now, Yuji says, good morning and welcome.
Hi, Bob. This is actually Yuji right now.
Oh, glad to meet you, Yuji. What part of the world are you from?
I'm in Salt Lake City.
Okay,
Utah here.
Okay, you're in Salt Lake City, Utah. Well, I welcome you. Go ahead and tell me about your story.
Well, I've told my story on previous videos from Vincent Davis. I had 2 children taken away. A boy and a girl. And after my girl was totally stolen, CPS does not stop, and they literally told me in the court that I shouldn't have any children. My private attorney came back and told me that I couldn't have any more children, and so I joked with him and said, when did you schedule my hysterectomy? And then he goes, are you pregnant right now? And I said, no. And then he goes, well, is there a possibility? And I said, no. And later I chose to have another child I left Utah, had another child, and I've been under surveillance ever since.
Yeah, you see,
They're trying to take my other
the
child.
sad part about things is that if you ever get caught up in CPS, they're supposed to inform you that you're not supposed to have any more children until your case is closed, because they will take your child. It's sad, but it's a part of their rules and regulations. You may not like it, and they are manipulating you. What was the reasons they were taking your child from you?
Well, in the first place, I mean, ever since Sammy, he's 19 now, so I could say my name, his name. They were just, well, actually, my parents and his mom and my mom would, say how, we weren't basically good parents, and it kind of broke us up.
Right.
And so I went to live with his parents for a little while, and it just, got worse. His sister called, and until, they enter your life, CPS enters your life, and after they took him into custody when he was 4 or 3 the first time, they found out that I was pregnant with the second child, and then after she was born, they just worked on it, tried to take her out of the hospital, but that didn't work. I almost had a nervous breakdown, and they said, well, we're not going to take her out this time, and then kind of monitored. So on the 3rd month point, they took her away from me because her father had MS, and I finally went to work because I thought it was safe, and her dad dropped her, and that's how they were kind of alerted again.
Yes.
While I was at work, I came home to cops telling me that your baby is injured, and they put me instead of letting me see my daughter at the hospital. When I drove there, they told me where she was. She was life flighted to a hospital, and they kept me away for her for 2 hours interrogating me, and then they said, well, they have to life flight her to another hospital because they didn't have the things for an infant at that hospital, and they wouldn't even let me see her. And 2 cops, I saw the helicopter fly away without me, with my 3-month-old baby all by herself. And then when I got to the right hospital, Primary Children's Hospital, they wouldn't let me see my child and treated me like I did something. And the only thing that saved me that day from not going to jail was proving that I was at work. I just came home, I was at work, and then shit happened my whole, life. I never, finished.
Yeah, it's this agency that you're describing sounds so bad out there. They're interested in only making money off your case.
And they're bad out there. They're bad out there. And like I said, I had another child right now because I believe, and don't get me wrong, you said, well, you can't have kids till cases end. Well, cases never really ever end. They're just put on hold.
Yeah,
That's
they
how
are.
I see it. They're just pulled on hold.
Yeah.
So if you try to change your life for the better, like do everything that they said you did but didn't do, you know what I mean, and try to create that again to try to show them that you really didn't do it in the first place. You know what I'm saying? That you didn't do their little whatever in the first place. Well, you can't ever show them anything. You know what I mean?
Yes, I do.
And whatever they say goes.
Yeah, I know
what
that.
What they say is go. And like I said, I want to tell people there that really, when they say even in court that case is closed, but they keep it open till the kid is 18, and then that's when they could choose, because when a child enters the system and they take them and they know there's no chance in heck that you're going to get your child back, what they do is always try to get a new social security number for your child. Even they do that, even if you still have a little custody on it.
Oh no, they try to double.
apply for those.
They try to take money from Social Security. It's really sad. In fact, I was telling about my case where my child sealed her birth certificate, got a new birth certificate, and a new Social Security
Exactly.
card, and was double dipping from Social Security. If Social Security knew what that CPS does, there'd be a lot of head rolling. The problem is they don't, and CPS loves to go out and take that money because it's all about money. It's all about money.
Exactly. And then also then if you try to fight it and then, you try to shut them off on that point, like if they didn't, take your kid 100% off, they'll turn it on you. Once they take your kid, like even as a temporary hold or whatever, you have temporary loss of custody.
Yes, that is true. That is true. That is true.
And they give people the illusion like, well, you still have custody of your children, but it's,
Well, the determination of your rights, you got to be very careful because in some states it's only 15 days you can appeal that. Otherwise, it's permanent, and you don't want to have that happen. You never want to give up your rights to your children. And I always feel, and all the people that call in my room, that you really do care about your children, and you'll do anything to do them. You wouldn't be sitting here in this room, talking to me about your case. So the CPS, they don't want to hear that. They don't want to hear you want your kids back because they want the money for your child. They want the money for your child. Now, I have some other people in the room besides you, Eugene, and I'm so glad that
I know that you have
I'm
a
talking.
lot of people.
No, it's fine. I want you to keep talking. I'm just going to answer the question. Cruel.
Okay, that's fine.
Cruel. Her handle is she's Felicie. Ask, is there any way that you can find out who called on you? No, it's not, and it's sad because it should be, because family members and people do try to interfere. They try to use and alienate you from your family. Family members are bad, and it's sad to hear that because families should think about what's best for the children, not what's wrong with how they feel about one another. And so I really am feeling for you there. So Cruel, she says that I have a feeling that my severely mentally ill mother is the catalyst in my current situation. And I agree with you, Felicity. That is true there. I have a question for you, Eugene. How did you first get approached? Did they come knocking at your door? They make a phone call? How did they approach you, the CPS?
When my daughter, like I told you, that story of how she ended up in the hospital.
Okay, and why did she end up in the hospital again?
Because her dad, who has MS, dropped her.
Right, and dropped her and caused her harm. Why did the biological father drop the child?
Because I said he has MS, right? And he does shake a lot. And that was the first time I went to work. And my son, that was 3, had his cars on the floor. And he kind of slipped and couldn't have the grasp of her, so he kind of fell over.
Oh, no. And what kind of physical harm was done to that child?
Well, we were in a handicap apartment, And
Okay.
on the floor is like made of like cement, under the tile, right?
Right.
And
Right.
when she fell, her head hit the ground, right? And when I walked in the door, he was holding her, and her head was swollen, and he goes, "Call, call 911, call 911." And I was like shocked. I, brought home some Arby's food, and then I just threw it on the kitchen counter, and called her, and then we were,
Well, the
and then I told
hospital.
you the
Yeah, the
part.
hospital has to call.
Yeah, I
on
get
that.
it, because she's a baby.
You're right.
And
Yeah. Well, they're trained.
yeah, but
They
they
are
treated
trained.
me
They're trained. So CPS got involved that way. And so when they're
exactly.
at the hospital, did they take your child then at the hospital?
Yes, they did. Well, when I went, I would never leave, and they actually told me, and I told you she was 3 months old. They said that if you want to stay at the visit right now, you are a guest. We have custody of your child.
Oh boy.
That's what they told me. They didn't
Yeah.
let my mother and my sisters go in and see her, but I kind of thought it. Well, I called, and I just didn't believe what they said. So when I went home, I found a DCF letter
Yeah.
inside on my kitchen table, and I asked my mom that did you put it there, and they go no, and I thought they literally came into my house and put the letter right on my table so I could see it with all their DCFS rules. Like,
Wow. Wow.
And then I went to see my daughter at 8 o'clock in the morning when they said that I had to call them at 9 to see her. And like I said, she was, 3 months old. And other people got to stay the night. And mind you, I wasn't the, one that hurt her. I was the one at work in the one, called the ambulance. The one,
Right.
you know what I mean? And they were treating me like, you're not her mother, you're just a guest. They literally kind of said that.
Well, they're
Like
trying
when
they're trying to alienate you, which is illegal. They're trying to alienate you from the child.
Exactly, because they were prompt, because they wanted to steal her out at birth. Remember when I told you the very first time they contacted me, because my son was an unofficial runner, he would kind of run ahead of me. But the rule before they changed it in Utah was if a kid under 3, like you weren't holding their hand, and they even walked maybe 3 steps ahead of you, and you didn't hold their hand, you were non-supervision. So it kind of started with my son, and so that's how everything started. And then they literally outright stole my daughter. I went through a painful 2 years. They finally got my 2 kids adopted out. They went through over 20 foster homes before they got adopted out. They stayed in a holding center that my daughter wasn't supposed to be in. It was supposed to be 2 and over.
Yeah.
It's called the Christmas Box in Utah, where they take children supposedly to save them. Well, it's really to hide them from their parents and stuff, but to save them.
Right.
There's 2 buildings like that in Utah. Like you can't go into their top floor or whatever. I mean, they'll tell you that your kids are there, right? But you can't, because legally that's kidnapping. If you don't know, if you legally have your right to not tell you where your kids are, that is, you could totally say they're legally kidnapping them, hiding your children from you.
Right.
In a building that you know where they are, but you can't get to them or see them or talk to them. And they did that, and then they have the gall to say in court that you didn't bond with your child. And I know, Vince Davis always says that there's a bonding study and all this. Well, if they stop the bond, because that's what CPS does, stop the bond, and then go and throw it in your face and say, oh, yeah, your child's 3 months old and you are not, 3 months old and you haven't bonded with your child. So there's no best interest to give the child back to you. And at between 3 months to 2, they've been through 20 foster homes.
Right.
And then they were I wouldn't sign anything like you said because they were involuntary taken. So what they told me, they tried to make it look like they're in the right, saying, oh, what do you request? And I said, I need both of my children to stay together. And Sammy, I whispered in his ear that you always only have one mother. And, I love you, and I never, gave you up. And anytime you want me, just look in your heart. And he would, fight everybody and not listen to them because they tell the children conditioning that they have to call all their foster parents mother and dad.
Oh, I know. They tried to ruin that, which is wrong because, first of all, the way the foster system is supposed to work, it doesn't work right. These parents that want to be foster parents need to go training. They need to have training to be a foster parent. Also, they need to think of this as a temporary housing while the parents do their case plan, like take parenting classes or drug rehab programs or something there. There are parents that need some additional help, but they still should be encouraged to do family reunification, which right now CPS doesn't believe in family reunification. Also, it's sad too that children up until the age of 18, they'll be with them and they can make a lot of money after them. If they're in their hands for 17 years, that is a lot of money. It's trillions of dollars of business. So,
yeah, like I said, I know that really well.
Yeah.
And then it just ruins my son. But he did come back because what they did for my cases was wrong.
Right.
And my son came back was adopted by my sister.
Okay.
So, but they might have wanted to look like that. And they made it, look like, they put them back in your family, but then, it had certain rules too, because my sister was taking the money, but she had a choice not to, but she was afraid if she didn't, they would, take them away from her.
Right. What about where your case is now? Where's your case now? Where's your children?
My oldest, I told you the name on air already. His name is Sammy. He's 19. He turned 19 last month. And my daughter is 15 right now, and she was adopted out as the baby. Well, actually, as 2.
Right. Now, your son, who's 19, he's 19 years old. He can come and live with you. You know that.
Oh, yeah. I've been, like I said, my sister adopted him, so she would let me, see him off and on when, during the years. But to him, it was like I was never there 100%, and he thought that I didn't want to see him. You know what I mean?
Right.
And in his heart, but you know what? Like when he got in trouble, he never called her. He called me all the time.
Okay.
So I was the one that was his mommy until they find, when they have to call his mother that adopted him.
Right.
Right. And that's a mess. And then I told you why I called, because I also talked about I have a third child too.
Right. You did tell me that. Eugene, I don't mean to end this call, but my show time is 9:00, ending of my show.
Right.
And I do have to get ready to go for church, but I want you to continue this. You can call me back tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or tomorrow morning at 10 a.m. Pacific Standard Time. So you can still call me. You're still part of my family. I don't want to, shove you out, but I just want you to know that I appreciate you sharing your story. Would you like to talk to Mr. Davis?
Actually, well, it was kind of weird. I know he does have a file on me, and I just need a quote, but like it's getting worse about what I told you about the surveillance that they're doing on me. And like what I said is, they really don't. It is an illusion that people think that there's no warrants or stuff. They surveillance the people that they want, and it looks like hearsay to us, but really it's not. That's how they get away with it.
Right, right.
They really have real footage. Like they follow you to stores, they follow you everywhere, and then when you made them, or however you say it, make them or made them, you know what I mean? But they go as far as to ask you questions, you know what I mean, about your child, or even sometimes say, oh, I know them, they go to my kid's school, you know what I mean? And try to engage you that way.
Right.
So there's surveillance out there, and they make us feel like we are either mental or we did something criminally wrong.
Right.
Because the illusion to the outside world is you wouldn't get your kid taken away if you didn't do anything wrong or harmed your child.
Right.
Nobody would take a child away from their parents.
Right,
if
right.
they, So yeah, and I understand. I will call back and I know that it's 11 minutes
right.
over, and
right.
you have to get to, or I got to get to
church.
and
Yeah,
God
it's
bless
all right.
ya.
Yeah, I wanted to close the show, so I'm going to thank all the people. I have a new person called Tarjan who just texted in. Please call me tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific time. And then I want to thank Terry Ernst for texting in. Margaret, thank you for calling from Merced County for constant calling in. Felicia, thank you for calling me. That's cruel. And then I also want to thank Tori Johnson. And of course, you, Eugene, I want to thank you for taking your time to share your story. And you're part of my family. All of you are part of my family. So you guys can call back. I'm not going to disappear on you. Thank you, Kennedy, for a lot that you said. Kennedy from Eugene, Oregon. Thank you very much. She was my first guest. So I want to thank you all. God bless you all. There'll be a brief message at the end of my podcast from my attorney, Vincent Davis, and that I'll see you all tonight at 7 p.m. Keep fighting for your kids. And this is Bob Pace signing off.
Feeling lost in the maze of CPS? Desperate to get your child back? You're not alone. Countless parents face the heart-wrenching reality of family separation. The legal system can be overwhelming, but there's hope.
Now, here's the key. Faith, that's how you win a 6-month hearing.
Thank you.
If you do all of those things, you're going to blow your social worker's mind, you're going to blow your attorney's mind, and you're going to blow away the judge.
With attorney Vincent W. Davis, a dedicated legal expert with 39 years of experience, committed to helping families like yours. Join his weekly live Q&A on Zoom, where you can ask your burning questions about CPS cases. Get the knowledge and strategies you need to fight for your child's return.
Alrighty, good evening everyone. This is a question and answer session for school, SKOOL, and this is the CPS school.
Are you ready to take control of your family's future? Join our school community for free to access weekly live Q&A sessions, or participate as a one-time guest. Don't let fear hold you back. Take the first step towards reuniting your family. Join us now.